Take a listen.
How can I be my best with my diet today, with my fluid intake? Just everything down to a T to try and get better. And I got back on the practice field late in the season and couldn't get to a top speed sprinting, but really been in a good place rehab-wise from the start and feeling really good. And, again, I'm hopeful I can play 2 or 3 or 4 more years. But you need to have some good fortune there, too.
Okay. Realistic expectations for Rodgers this season?
I mean, it's more likely it's his last year than that he has more. Also, those, I know it's small print, but those AFC East odds, it's depressing for Pats fans. Sorry, Wilds. But that's ludicrous. So if you can't see it, it says Buffalo plus 130, Miami plus 190, and the Jets right behind them at plus 290. Give me a break. This Jets team stinks. They don't have a good, best I can tell, coach. I don't have a lot of reason to believe they have a good front office. And Aaron Rodgers' last great game, do you remember when we were talking about the Cowboys playing the Packers and Mike McCarthy and his opportunity? Oh, yeah. That was Aaron Rodgers' last great game. Think about that.
I mean,
it was that was November of 22. His last really good season was when Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl.
Oh, hello.
And second in MVP voting, Brew, was Tom Brady that season. Like, I don't buy the 40-year-old coming off the popped Achilles is about to play an extended stretch. And I don't buy that the Jets are getting a great quarterback back. They are getting back a quarterback that once was great and has not been great since 2021, and it will be the 2024 season. Like, I don't think that's controversial.
Look, I talked myself into believing in Aaron Rodgers last year.
Yeah.
Now, who knows how that would have went had he not gotten hurt. But it is hard to expect him to come in next year. He's now, 2 full seasons removed from playing great football. Yeah. And I think their defense obviously is good. Garrett Wilson is good. They got some decent skill position players.
The defense is the most overrated defense.
No, but it's
fine.
Don't let your Patriots by you.
No, we got out there preseason like they got a great defense. Does the great defense numbers?
They had no offensive help last year.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, it's a good defense. I'm just saying, if he was 80% of what he was in his last MVP year, they could be okay. Sure. I don't think he'll be there. I think I'm more with Nick in that. What's realistic is that this is probably his last year. He goes out, he's okay, and they don't make the playoffs, and then he hangs it up. That's what's most realistic, I think.
Also, while some of you agree, I think it is totally fair to also have a more skeptical look at his last healthy season, which was his last year in Green Bay, now that we have seen the Packers last year. Like, the Packers last year had better quarterback play. They were better on, and I understand they're a young team, so there's a lot of factors.
But Rodgers didn't give those guys a chance.
Right, and so the question I would have is, if he had popped his Achilles post MVP, then it'd be like, hey, we have no reason to believe if it's successful recovery that he can't get back to that level. We saw a full year of football from Aaron Rodgers on a team that we now know was good enough to compete at least a year later. And he was not good. He was fine. He wasn't bad in 2022. He was fine. What is the logical argument that player is going to be better than he was the last time he was healthy?
I agree with that.
I just don't.
I think narrative-wise, everyone wants to follow the Tom Brady story. People have sold themselves on that. The coach of the franchise that he was with kind of got tired of him, sold him short, but he had more in the tank, and he can lead us to the promised land. But the truth might be more like Russell Wilson. Super Bowl winning quarterback. The coach kind of got tired of him. He got tired there. He went somewhere new, and it didn't work.
You're right.
So I think the Jets want it to be the Tom Brady story, but it might be the Russell Wilson story.
Also, Tom's last year in New England, They made the playoffs. They won.
Right, he never was
They
as
won
bad as
double-digit
Rodgers
games.
did last
Then now they lost disappointingly in the first round in Tennessee. And then the first year without him, they were below 500 for the first time in 15 years, and Tom won the Super Bowl. Aaron's last year in Green Bay, they lost a home game in the final game of the year to miss the playoffs. The team then, without him, got back to the playoffs, won a playoff game, made it as far as Aaron has made in the playoffs, or won as many playoff games as Aaron has made in a year in like 5 years. And Aaron popped his Achilles 4 plays into the season.
Yep.
These stories are not the same. The trajectories are not the same. And the players historically have never been the same.
Free agent Saquon Barkley reportedly has a suitor in his NFC East rival Eagles. Last year, the Eagles had the 8th best rushing offense behind DeAndre Swift, went for over 1,000 yards. Nick, do you think Saquon gets Philly closer to a Super Bowl?
Wilds did. Wilds, you want to do
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
Wilds said to me today before the show, he's like, I have a new impersonation.
It's usually
of you.
a Leonard voice, but
Yeah. Oh, I thought that wasn't you doing me. You always said that. All right, Wilds, I'll be you, you be me.
Yeah.
Would signing Saquon get Philly closer to the Super Bowl?
No.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. That's so quiet.
Very good. That's very good.
Listen,
very
Brew, you watched Philly closely last year because if people forget, they were your pick to win the NFC
didn't
and
have
win the
to-
Super Bowl, the whole
I do
thing.
remember that.
10 toes down and all of it. At any point when you were watching their whole entire year fall apart, were you like running back away? Like, this is what they need.
Well, you're right. Like, look, would signing Saquon be a good move if he's healthy? Sure, he's fine. Running back's not been their problem.
No.
DeAndre Swift was good last year. Now, Saquon, we know, is a really high character guy. Would he mesh with Jalen? Yeah, that'd probably be good. But DeAndre Swift statistically was better than Saquon last year. The year before that, Miles Sanders were fine. Like, they've had a strong run game. So that's not the problem. They need to spend all that money on defense.
Yes.
And then find somebody, might not be a big name, but can be effective for you out of the backfield.
No, that's exactly right. The money needs to be spent on the back seven of their defense. All of their focus needs to be spent on their linebackers, corners, and safeties.
Yep.
And by the way, so like I know it's not as big of a name, but it's a better player. He's a better player, I should say. You know who Philly could be a game changer for them? Justin Simmons, the player Denver just cut. Now, he's not cheap, but Howie Roseman's good at making the position of need. Now, but I also want to make this clear. Just because I'm down on contenders spending big on running backs, except for Christian McCaffrey, I don't think Saquon is, unable to help anybody. If I were Houston or Chicago,
Like him in Houston.
that would be, or a young quarterback,
They didn't have
cheap
a great
quarterback.
Chicago's really smart.
Yeah, to me, give Caleb all the opportunities to do well. Or two teams that have, one team, I guess, that has a veteran quarterback and one team that might, that I actually be like, okay, I think that might make sense. Arizona or Minnesota. I would at least call them. Minnesota, almost no matter what my quarterback, if I draft a guy or re-sign Kirk, I would at least consider it. But Philly, to me, is supposed to be close, but needs a ton of help on the other side of the ball. I feel the same way about Dallas. Dallas is close, needs a lot of help and specific help on the other side of the ball. So Saquon would not be my target.
Finally, Max Crosby making the most out of his tete-a-tete with Mahomes from NFL Films when they were in each other's faces. Sent several podcasts about it. Take a listen.
People can take that whatever they want.